So many tow vehicles are set up dangerously these days. They don't steer well, they don't stop well, and the suspension just doesn't cut it. To put it mildly, many tow vehicles on the road today shouldn't be there. Today though, we are going to show you how to set up a tow vehicle the right way so that you can tow not only comfortably, but safely for many, many years to come. Now, this bad boy behind me right here started life as a stock standard Mazda BT-50. Now, in stock form, these things are exceptionally nice to drive on and off-road, but we're going to be taking this Mazda full-time off-grid as a dedicated tow and adventure vehicle, which is why it looks like it does right now. But folks, you can't just go throwing a credit card at a stock four-wheel drive and expecting it to end up as the perfect tow rig. There are steps you have to follow to get things looking like this one does right now and performing exactly as they should, both on and off-road. When you're setting up a four-wheel drive to tow, a big problem you're going to run into is keeping the four-wheel drive and van level, as when you add a caravan to the back of a four-wheel drive, it throws everything off balance. And it is at the heart of so many problems like van sway, tyre wear, chassis damage, poor handling, and braking, and so much more. And if we want to get our vehicle set up level, we need to make sure our four-wheel drive can handle all this extra weight we'll be putting on it. That's why suspension is so critical in keeping everything level, and that is what we're tackling first. The first thing you've got to do, and it is critical, figure out what your final weight for the vehicle is going to be before you do anything to your suspension. The reason for that is, imagine adding 300 kilos of accessories to your vehicle: bullbar, snorkel, fridge, canopy, all the bits and pieces in the back, water, fuel. I won't go on, without thinking about what type of suspension you're going to put on, or even worse, installing the suspension first and then finding out it is completely wrong. Now, that's why we've gone with a Petter's GVM upgrade. It's given us 570 kilos of extra payload using 600 kilo constant springs. Now, that's more than enough to handle our extra weight. Not only that, keep the car nice and level whilst towing. If, however, this ute is going to be your daily driver and you're not going to be towing that often and it's going to be empty most of the time, these 600 kilo constant springs will make your ride a little bit harsh and uncomfortable and probably aren't the right choice for you. Heavy springs in the rear are great when you're fully loaded and towing a caravan. But if you take the caravan off, the changes you've made to the four-wheel drive make it ride horribly, and the rear of it will be way too stiff and stick up all the time. This isn't a problem if you're always towing, but if you're using your four-wheel drive as a regular daily driver, this can be quite annoying. That's where airbags come in, as they offer a good compromise between the two setups. When you hitch the van up, you inflate them to assist the springs carrying the load. Unhitch the van, you deflate them, so the softer spring is comfy on the road. Now that we've got our weights sorted and we've got our suspension sorted, let's throw a caravan on the back. Stick with me here. Imagine we hadn't got our suspension sorted before doing this. The geometry of the van versus the car would be way off because of the ball weight. When you add your tow ball weight to the rear of your four-wheel drive, it's adding a heap of weight onto the rear axle, which pushes it down and lifts the front axle up, like a seesaw. That throws your suspension geometry out, which affects handling and tyre wear, and reduced front axle weight means your brakes aren't as effective. A weight distribution hitch allows you to transfer that tow ball weight more evenly across your four-wheel drive axles and caravan axles. While your number one priority is getting the suspension set up right, these are great at assisting with getting your setup towing right, and are especially useful if you only hitch up the van 10 times a year and have your suspension set up for daily driving. Now, once the vehicle's level, you're also going to want the caravan to sit level, because if the caravan's nose is tilting down, you're going to lose clearance and risk getting yourself stuck. Now, to counteract that, we've installed a Heyman Reese adjustable tow ball mount down here. Now, this bad boy is rated to 3.5 tons and it works the raised position or the lowered position, just depending on where you need to put it to get your caravan sitting dead level and towing nice and flat. Now that we've got our suspension sorted and our caravan and our four-wheel drive are sitting nice and level, here's a question for you. How do you think this bad boy is going to stop? Have a think about it. We're adding nearly a ton of extras onto this vehicle, plus at the back there's going to be 2.5 tons of caravan. That means those factory brakes aren't going to be as good as they were in stock standard form. That's why we've upgraded to slotted rotors. The slots actually help hot gases escape between the rotor and the pad, and that helps reduce brake fade. We're also going for ceramic brake pads up the front here too. They are designed for heavy duty use. That means a lot more weight on the vehicle and towing applications. They're also going to last significantly longer. And of course, the rear drums needed upgrading as well. You all know, one mud hole with these, fills up with gunk, gets all caught in there, has got nowhere to escape, chews the shoes out, and your rear brakes next to useless. That's why we've gone for a drum to disc conversion. Disc brakes have got nowhere for mud to get trapped, can't do as much damage. Drum brakes work by pushing shoes outwards, whereas disc brakes push pads inwards onto the rotor. You're always going to get a far better braking efficiency by pushing than pulling. So the long and short of it is the disc brakes give you a far greater braking force. And when you build up a vehicle like this, with this much weight and also towing, it's a no-brainer. A really great thing to keep in mind is what we call the knock-on effect. Modifying one thing on your four-wheel drive could have ramifications for other things you might think are completely unrelated down the line. As an example, changing the size of your brakes might mean you have to change the size of your wheels to fit brake rotors or calipers. Keep that in mind when first making the decision to upgrade anything on your four-wheel drive. Another good idea if you're going to be towing heavy loads, like a caravan, is to think about the extra strain it's going to be putting on your transmission. If you're going to be doing a lot of towing, it makes really good sense to look at getting something like a transmission cooler. Every automatic transmission can benefit from a cooler upgrade when you're towing heavy loads, especially towing on a beach, which puts the most heat through a transmission. Now, if you are towing something that is wider than your vehicle and you're still using your stock mirrors, it's actually illegal. The reason being, you can't see anything in your blind spot and your visibility back behind the vehicle is virtually nil. Now look, there are two different types of tow mirrors. You've got clip-on mirrors or replacements. Now, if you're only towing once or twice a year, you don't want to spend that much money. Clip-ons are going to work for you. They're affordable and they will keep you towing legally. However, they do rattle and vibrate, and to be honest with you, they really don't give you the best visibility. Now, we've got a nice MITS canopy on the back of this vehicle, and couple that with the fact that this car is almost exclusively going to be a tow vehicle, it was a no-brainer that we put a set of compact towing mirrors from Clearview on the side here. Now, the vision from these down the back makes driving so much easier and safer. These things not only are so much more adjustable and give so much more vision down the side than clip-on mirrors, they also work with the factory features that come with the standard mirrors. So indicators, power fold, blind spot monitoring, all of that works with these Clearview mirrors. One of the realities of driving in the Aussie bush, of course, is animal encounters. Kangaroos, cattle, they are an obstacle to be avoided at all costs, but the reality is, it's something that does happen. That is why we fit quality frontal protection to these four-wheel drives. This one right here is the new Toro bar from Off-Road Animal, and not only does it look fantastic, which it does, it offers a couple of other factors that we like. We're able to mount spotlights up here. We're pushing this four-wheel drive into some wild places, which is going to mean a lot of big Ks and a lot of dusk driving. We've been relying on steady lights for years now and have never let us down. And of course, no matter what you're doing, you're always going to need a winch down the front there. Rightio, we've got this vehicle starting to take shape right now. Suspension is perfect. We can actually stop because we've upgraded the brakes. We can see what's going on behind us because we've upgraded our mirrors. Our thoughts now turn to storage. What we've done up top here, roof rack, just so we can put things like swags if we're going to be leaving the van, etc, etc. And then up the back, of course, we've gone with a MITS tray and canopy package because we have tested these bad boys for years all over Australia and America. One thing you're going to notice when I open this up is that it looks very similar to how we've set up almost all of our other canopies in the past. We've dedicated the driver's side of the canopy for storage space, while the right is for living out of. The main reason we do this is so that when we stop on the side of a road to grab a little bite to eat or get something necessary out of the canopy, we don't need to deal with the oncoming cars and we can easily grab stuff. One of the great things about a MITS canopy is if we want to in the future, I can chuck whatever I like in here. I can put this to be smaller, or I could move it. I could put another drawer in here if I wanted to. A table, heck, the sky's the limit. You'll be used to this, you've seen it all before. Of course, we've got storage drawer over here. I love this table, makes life so much easier. We've got a Clearview power slide over here. That's a bit fancy. Of course, Dometic fridge. And if you're wondering what this is the Enerdrive Adventurer power system. You're probably looking at this and going, why the heck have you got such an advanced 12-volt system in here when the van itself could power a small city? The answer is flexibility. What we like to be able to do on off-grid is to leave the vans parked up for a day, maybe 2-3 days, and head away with the four-wheel drives and use them as standalone vehicles. So to that end, Enerdrive make a whole range of really smart 12-volt Fun fact about Enerdrive you might not know. This whole system was designed and assembled right down the road in Brisbane. They've taken all the guesswork out of having a complicated 12-volt system in your four-wheel drive, and what I love is that all the connections, terminal shunts are also perfectly done. Way better than relying on my dodgy crimping and soldering. We also went with a slimline lithium battery in the BT because look how much less space it takes up. You can mount it to the headboard and win back a heap of extra storage. We can't wait to test all of this stuff out in the real remote areas this year. I couldn't be more stoked with how this BT-50 has turned out. This is going to be a reliable, safe and comfortable vehicle to tour Australia with off-grid for many years to come. Now, unfortunately, this is not my vehicle. It's been set up for Bianca and Jordan, our brand new couple who are going to be joining me on the next couple of seasons of off-grid. My vehicle, vastly different to this, and it is everything this is not. It ain't comfortable. So far, it ain't that safe. And I'm going to try and make it so using the exact same tips I've just given you when it comes to setting up a tow vehicle. But if you think I have missed anything when it comes to setting up a tow vehicle, please, in the comments down below, let me know. For now, I've got my own vehicle to go set up. Catch you later.